Hello, and welcome back to another Sergmanx video. Today's video, I'm here to talk about essential PS3 titles that you need to play on the PlayStation 3. But I'm not alone on this video. I have members of the Super Retro Force here to give their pick for essential PS3 titles you need to check out. So let's get into the first choice.
So when it comes to my favorite PlayStation 3 game, I have to say one of my favorites, if not my top favorite, has to go to Valkyria Chronicles. You take over the role of Squad 7 as you defend your beautiful country of Gallia against the invading Empire. Now, Valkyria Chronicles is an amazing take on the traditional tactical RPG formula. Now, instead of using an isometric view and moving your characters on a grid, you have full control over your squad and where you can place them. And what really makes Valkyria Chronicles stand out to me, and is still to this day one of my favorite games in general, is the amazing art style. It has something called a canvas engine. Everything looks like it's painted through watercolors, and it has a really unique style when it comes to shading the shadows, and it looks simply beautiful. You really have to see it in action in order to really truly appreciate it. Not only that, but the game has such a fantastic story with plentiful voice acting, both in Japanese and in English. And let's just say, the game had me on an emotional roller coaster. This was one of those games that actually succeeded in making me cry like a baby. I kid you not, I still remember to this day I have PTSD because this game really did hit me in the feels. And oh man, I don't want to spoil anything. I want you all to actually check out Valkyria Chronicles and appreciate it for yourselves, because not only does the game have a fantastic story, an amazing art style that means that this game ages beautifully like fine wine, great voice acting, a fantastic story, and of course the music. The soundtrack for this game still is to this day one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in video game history. And I highly recommend that all of you check out Valkyria Chronicles as you take on the invading Empire and help Squad 7 defend that beautiful country of Gallia. And if you can't play this on the PS3, then it was also released digitally on the Switch as well as physically for the PlayStation 4 as a remaster, complete with all its DLC, in case you don't actually own a PS3. As weird as that sounds. So anyways, I'm looking forward to hearing everybody else's recommendations as their top favorite PlayStation 3 games, but for me, it's gotta go to Valkyria Chronicles. Amazing game.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Rad Bash from the Super Retro Force. My boy Serge asked me what a good PS3 game is that everybody should have. And that was a tough one because I love the PS3 and I had to sit and think, what is a good PS3 game that you must play? It was an easy pick for me. I was gonna go a horror game, but I decided not to. I had to go with Mafia 2, which yes, has been ported to other systems, but it came out on the PS3 and it was a phenomenal game. Let's talk about it. Mafia 2 is hands down the best Mafia game ever made. It's a great gangster game. You take on the role of Vito and you go basically, I love stories where it's a start to finish, like you see a little bit in the future, then it goes backwards. It's a coming up story, you know, a gangster coming up story. One of my favorite anime series, when we're talking anime now, is Gungrave, and it is two best friends who come up in a gang together and end up being high ranking, and that's kind of what this is. Vito is a nobody and then works his way up into the family, is working with them and things like that, and it's really fun. The action in this game is phenomenal. It is a great, you know, shooting game. Obviously, you're not first-person shooter, but you have guns and things like that. It's fun, you know. It's a good gangster game, and I think more people should play it if they haven't. It's worth noting that this was also ported to modern systems, so if you wanted to check it out, you could check it out. It is more accessible than other games, so to say. But yeah, I really love Mafia 2, and if you haven't checked out Mafia 2, I really think you should. There you have it. Have you played Mafia 2? What do you think about it? Let us know down below. Thanks again for having me on, Serge. Super Retro Force. Stay radical.
What's going on, everyone? It's the Mad Belmont here. Thank you so much to my boy Serge for having me on for this video. So when he came to us and said, what is a must-play essential PS3 title, I could not think of a game better suited than my most recent pickup for the system, and that is Infamous. This is a superhero game from Sucker Punch, the people that brought us Sly Cooper on the PS2, as well as Ghost of Tsushima on the PS4. This game right here, Infamous, this takes superheroes and it just takes everything you know about them and throws it out the window. In this game, you play as Cole McGrath, a guy who is doing a delivery, and the package that he's delivering explodes, and you have to figure out throughout the course of the game what was that device, what caused the explosion, and you have to unravel the mystery of everything that's going on as a result of that explosion. And the reason why I say it takes superheroes and everything about them and just throws it out the window is because you get to choose whether you play as a good guy or a bad guy, and your choices throughout the game affect not only you in your appearance, of your lightning powers. You get to control lightning in this game, but also everyone around you will react differently to you depending on whether you're a good or a bad guy. Really, really cool stuff there, and it's something that we still don't see in most genres today. So, for the simple fact that this is the coolest superhero game I have ever had the pleasure of playing, you have to play Infamous. If you have a PS3, add this to your library as soon as you possibly can.
The PlayStation 3 was the first PlayStation system that I owned, and it had one of my favorite libraries of games for it, whether we're talking multi-platforms or we're talking exclusives here. In this case, we're talking about an exclusive that I don't know if many people have played, but I think is one that's worth experiencing. And that is Bleach: Soul Resurrection. Now, this game is more of an action game slash beat 'em up, but the things that made it stand out was its authenticness to the source material. I do like its visual style, and its gameplay, while, you know, relatively simple, did look flashy and was fun to pull off moves. Now, in terms of where this takes place in the world of Bleach, this actually starts off with Ichigo and company heading into Hueco sorry if I pronounced it wrong, to save Orihime, and it ends with the defeat of Aizen. So, spoilers for anyone who hasn't really seen those Bleach episodes. So by the sounds of it, it takes place during the Arrancar arc, and its story was intriguing enough that it made me actually go out and want to watch the anime for it, so I did binge that. And Bleach was actually fun, and it was nice to see it kind of revived and see where it is today. But gameplay-wise was really where it kind of stood out for me. With that kind of combat, it did look flashy, which is the thing that really helps these kind of games. And its upgrade paths are more akin to, say, Final Fantasy X with its sphere grid. It's a little more simplified here, though. But with upgrades, just like for health, your damage, and maybe even some characters and all that stuff for specials. But this game was a fun exclusive, and like I said, it's special because it was my introduction to Bleach. And with a new Bleach game on the horizon, it only makes me more intrigued. If you haven't played Soul Resurrection, I definitely would suggest taking a look into it if you can. It is worth a play.
Wow, fantastic choices all around. But what would I pick as an essential PS3 title? Well, that's easy. I gotta go with one of my favorite franchises, with Metal Gear Solid 4. Why Metal Gear Solid 4? Let's get into it. Metal Gear Solid 4 is easily one of the best games on the PlayStation 3. If you are a huge fan of the Metal Gear franchise, I'm sure you've played this already, but if you haven't, definitely play the other games in the franchise, because the build-up to this game is absolutely fantastic, and you wouldn't get the same impact by simply just diving into Metal Gear Solid 4 alone. You once again play as series protagonist Solid Snake as you go through various different environments, sneaking around, taking out different troops, fighting epic boss fights, and revisiting a lot of characters from the series past. This game has it all. The gameplay is absolutely top notch. So if you love stealth action games, you're gonna love what they do here with Metal Gear Solid 4. If stealth gameplay isn't your style, you can definitely go into certain situations with guns blazing. Just be prepared to face the consequences as you get swarmed by enemy troops, and sometimes these walk-in gecko mechs, which are a pain in the ass to avoid as they will stalk and try to kill you by any means possible. Unfortunately, Metal Gear Solid 4 has yet to leave the PlayStation 3 as of the recording of this video, so try to avoid all spoilers that you can of this game, as I feel like the story perfectly bookends the Metal Gear Solid saga. Recently, Konami has released Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3 on modern platforms, with a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake coming soon, so now's the chance to catch up on those games and dive into Metal Gear Solid 4, one of the best PlayStation 3 games and games of all time. Check this one out. And that has been the essential PS3 games that you need to check out. But if you enjoyed videos like this, we have plenty more like it on the Super Retro Force YouTube channel. We make a lot of list content, such as best Xbox 360 game, underrated NES game, games you must play before you die, along with some new series coming soon to the channel. Once again, thank you all for the continued support on the Sergmanx channel. Be sure to support the Super Retro Force as well. And as always, have a good one and peace out.
Super Retro Force.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and comment below your thoughts on today's topic. Please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell to be notified when the next Sergmanx video drops. Have a good one.